From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into the most ridiculous podcast in sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open this cold Mayday beer and let's get after it. As always, Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery, the official beer, Pucks Out Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on July 6th there for bingo. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, make sure to come on out.
Or if you're not, no. You make a trip of it. Come see beautiful Nashville and come to the middle of the state at Murfreesboro to see where Bobby will guarantee that you make friends, you know?
Yeah. I guarantee it. It's also the one only Brandon's birthday, so we're going to be having a great time. But guys, it is great to be back. We took a week off, but don't forget to check out Patreon, Twitch to support the show. But yeah, we've got a lot to cover. We were gone a lot. We obviously have the Stanley Cup to cover. But how are you this week, bud?
Pretty good. A little tired. Over the weekend, Stephanie and I, the holiday weekend now, it's been a holiday weekend federally, but the state of Tennessee is now altered their provision, and now Juneteenth is a state holiday as well. So nice holiday weekend. Stephanie and I went to Dollywood. Friggin' great time. Wish we could have, been there more than the day. Obviously, super fun. Had a blast doing that. A good weekend. Saw the fam, cookout, all that. All that fun jazz. Just getting ready, man. I got 8 days of work left until my staycation. So jazzed up about that. How about you, buddy? How was your trip?
Good, man. Alaska was a lot of fun. Canada, Victoria, British Columbia was an amazing time. We saw some glaciers. I got to see a bunch of dope ass breweries. Skagway, one of the cities in Alaska, had some amazing breweries, and we went by a little distillery. And there was this vodka they make in-house from glacier water. And I took a sip. And honestly, I thought the dude was screwing with me. It tasted like straight water. It's a dangerous vodka that I could have just sit there and sipped on it all day long. Did bring some home with me as well. Some of their gin.
Bob had somebody. I think that he just convinced. I think you'd just been drinking the whole trip. It really was water, dude. He's like, I bought it's this dope local made. It's called Dazenai. It's super sick vodka. Got like 6 or 7 bottles, like a dope green cap on it. It's sick, bro. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Did you feel like Bobby Boucher, bro?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I believe it's pronounced. I think it's pronounced Diapiarc. I'm not sure. It's fancy. It's fancy.
The R's are silent, huh? That's sick.
Yeah. But no, yeah. And then spent a day in Seattle, and that was a lot of fun. Went to saw Climate Pledge Arena. Unfortunately, it was couldn't go look at the window like down onto the ice and stuff because didn't realize until we had made the trek over there. It's the postseason. They don't have ice in there, and Jurassic Park is on tour was there, so they had everything closed. But did go by the fan store. Was gonna get a Seattle hat, but I already had a Seattle hat, so instead I got a Seattle Storm hat, which is honestly much more dope.
That's sick. That's a super sick hat, dude. That's awesome. I'm glad you had a good time. Congrats on your upcoming job as well. We talked a little bit about it, and then I realized that when you got back, you failed to remember that you already called me and talked to me about it. It was like your quote to me when you got back about the job was like verbatim, like the quote you told to me on the phone the other day when we had. So I just sent back a congrats, bro. And I was like, well, I hope he remembers that whole conversation we had, because it looks like I was just blowing him off with this like a quick 2-word reply. I was like, no, we've talked about this. It's not my fault that he didn't remember. That's not. I'm not his keeper.
Yeah. But got a new job coming up, so that's obviously going to alter the recording schedule. I'll be teaching high school and helping coach footballs, and while getting my master's in education. So obviously that's going to alter some recording schedule, but we'll make it work because we're professionals. Well, or at least we say we are.
We get paid for other stuff. In some aspect of life, we are professional.
Yeah. But let's quick fit check. I already talked about the hat I'm rocking. What about you, dude?
Yeah, I got back from getting my car from the shop. I didn't even change. I popped in here, so just got the standard button down polo. Then I got my Adair's Saloon in South Deep Ellum. Shout out to what Bobby said was the greatest sliders that he ever had. Was he just saying that for this guy's benefit? I have no idea. It also was the only food we'd eaten in like 8 hours. So I think that it was like inflated. We drank, we have hit every brewery we can. And we have some sliders. Anything was going to be, it was like finishing a bout of Survivor and like, this is so good. So rocking that bad boy. Just keeping it low key.
Nice. Let's jump into some news.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
It started to play the wrong clip there for a second, but it fixed itself. Habs agreed to a 1-year contract extension with forward Sean Monahan, almost $2 million. I like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Very neutral. I think it's a 1-year deal. It's not like it's a big signing. $2 million. That's about right for a center. Played pretty decently for them. A guy that I've always had bigger hopes for. Sean Monahan, when he was with the Flames, had a couple of, decent seasons where you thought he was going to kind of have a breakout, never really got through. But I think it's definitely a great depth piece for the Habs. I'm not sure what their thought process is on this season. Are they still considering themselves in rebuild mode? Or is this, do they think they are about ready for a push? So I think either way, you got to fill a roster. This is a guy that has been around. So a good as place as any for him to stick around.
Next up, we've got Alex DeBrincat has a list of teams for the trade. Nashville, Dallas, Vegas, Florida, and Detroit coming from his agent. Trying to look some more into this to see that what maybe teams. I do see that Carolina is also interested in him, as well as the Rangers and the Penguins. And the Blues.
I would imagine.
The Blues as well.
Everybody, I would imagine, would be ecstatic to get a guy like this. It's a very funny list of players that teams that he's put out as wanting to go to. The Preds and Detroit kind of stand out in that because those other three are three of the top 4 teams that we saw this last season in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Nashville and Detroit are both teams that are in the midst of a rebuild, or the Preds are beginning their rebuild and Detroit is kind of coming out of it a little bit. You would definitely have to imagine a guy like Alex DeBrincat sees something with these organizations, with the other 3 teams that are on that list. If the Preds land a guy like Alex DeBrincat, it definitely changes our whole discussion of everything that we've had off season. that's definitely a piece that you can build around. I mean, that's a pretty big cog in that rebuild machine. I can't see them trading to Detroit. That just seems a little too close to home for Ottawa after landing this guy. But very, very intriguing because, I mean, this was his doing, right? Like, he went and signed there, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Is that right? It wasn't a trade or anything. And so I don't really know a lot about the rumors and what's happened. I didn't want to dig too deep into it because, again, we got a whole off season to discuss and find out what's going on. And I just saw this today, so I wanted to bring it up, but looks like arbitration. They're trying to take his salary to arbitration. Is a possibility. So we'll get a little bit more research into that. That is going to be a very key highlight for our summer of hockey news when there is not any. So
yeah. Speaking of a team that will probably not have a very exciting offseason and probably will have less of an exciting next season. Coyotes now have a $23.3 million in cap hit, 28% of their cap, from players who won't play a single game in the 23-24 season. I mean, this is a team that is just in shambles and something needs to be done about this team.
Yeah. Zach Cassian, Nemeth, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, all on dead cap hits. And then Voracek, Weber, and Little, all $21.4 million for long-term injured retired players. Mismanagement is not a big enough word, is it, Bob? It's there you can help organization. You can understand organizations that just could never get the players and just get people there. But this is cap mismanagement on a whole different level. How is 28% of what you have in your budget to spend on players? You Bobby Bonilla all that money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are the Mets right now, dude. Like, come on. So, I mean, it goes to show, I mean, this ownership just wants to get to a place where they can make more money. Is very clear in my mind. So just what a joke. That's more why I put that in there. Like, that just needed to be discussed.
Yeah. Let's move into outside the NHL.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
Denver Nuggets win the NBA championship. Jokic wins Finals MVP. He did it in extraordinary fashion. I mean, he was on absolute fire throughout the finals.
The one game they lost, he dropped 41. I thought about it. That man may have let the Heat win so he could win it at home. That's just a good guy right there. That's the guy you want on your side. I was glad for that. Obviously, I was rooting for Game 7 over anything because that's the greatest two words in sports. But was glad Denver won, got their first NBA championship. Jokic is a beast, man. He's an absolute beast. He's a humble guy. He's cares about the city. We're going to talk about something that kind of spits in the face of what I've just said. But this might be every so often something happens in the NBA that kind of changes the course of the NBA for the next few seasons. One that comes to mind, 2008, if you remember, the Big Three got together. It was really our first Big Three guys that decided to come together and win a championship. Well, since then, that's been pretty much the formula, right? We got to get three guys here, three big superstars. Whereas Denver has done it very differently. They've got two stars in Jokic and Jamal Murray, and have really built around them and had guys that are willing to be that role player. That's the hardest thing in the NBA is for a guy like Michael Porter Jr., the number 2 pick overall, a superstar at every level he's played basketball, and was the man to rotate into a role and do what's necessary to help win games. Something that Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob, always knew something about. He always knew how to find a role. So, I mean, you would think that you can build a much better team around a core of 2 players than 3 big superstars. But
yeah,
the next little note to kind of changes that, because the Phoenix Suns are getting their big 3. Bradley Beal traded to the Phoenix Suns. So this is definitely a win now situation. They don't have a few years to come out of this. For I think they have 2 of the top 10 most highly paid players with KD and Bradley Beal this coming season. The following season, 3 of the top 6 with Durant, Booker, and Beal. You're just not going to be able to build a squad around that long term. So new owner is definitely putting all his chips in. We'll see how it works. I mean, these are 3 great players. The Phoenix Suns were right on the cusp of being there, and have been around a little while. So see how that works out. I wouldn't hate the Phoenix Suns winning a ship.
Do you think the Nuggets are the next big dynasty, or do you think this was a one-off for them?
I don't want to say dynasty, but I don't want to say one-off either. I think they'll be around. I think that there's the possibility of another championship or 2 in the works over the course. I don't know that I see it as all right, now obviously the Nuggets are the team to beat, but not that team that everybody is going in, that it's like the Kobe Lakers and the Shaq Lakers, or even the Steph Curry dynasty that the Warriors created. I would like to see them do it again. They haven't advanced this far, obviously, in the playoffs, and have had a very similar build and a similar core. Was it just this season that it kind of all worked together and the outside forces weren't there? With that being said, if Jokic and Jamal Murray play this season the way that this upcoming season the way they played this previous season, I think that I would obviously eat my words, right? Because they were absolutely dominant. The team basketball that was played, there was really never any chance that they lost, in my mind, that through this series. So I could be absolutely wrong, and we could definitely see Jokic match up his NBA championships with his MVP total.
Yeah. If there was a weak spot in this Nuggets team, where would you like to see them kind of improve? I mean, I'm a little biased. I want them to go get my boy Luka, only because I think then they'd be unstoppable. But
yeah,
I mean, that's really
maybe. Weakness. I don't follow enough to maybe speak to their particular weak. Obviously, Luka Doncic will improve any roster. So I have no real opinion of that matter, as I don't watch NBA enough to be like, this is what this team needs and this is what this team needs. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're asking a superstar basketball player, at least always puts tickets, sells some tickets. So we will see what Luka does. I mean, Kyrie's been trying to recruit folks to Dallas, so we'll see. We'll see.
Police searching for the 2024 Paris Olympics headquarters in corruption investigation. How do you lose a headquarters? You put this on here. Explain to me how someone loses a building like that.
I didn't really read it. I was just pulling it on there because I was like, I said, I was like, Olympics being investigated for corruption? That never happens. So searching the headquarters.
They're not searching for, they're searching the headquarters, not searching for the headquarters.
I thought that you had read something in there, and I'm like, great. I just thought it was like a corruption probe and they've got caught up in it. And now Bob's like, no, dude, they've misplaced a building. I'm like, okay, I probably should read some stuff. No, it's just interesting of the amount of places and crazy, locations that we've had the Olympics that very clear Sochi, Russia, Beijing, China, and this has never occurred before. So what really obviously happened is a country that, can control this kind of stuff is probing for corruption. Whereas I'm sure China was on the up and up the entire time, and there was no corruption, and it was just straight up. But Paris, get your guys together. What's up, dude? We didn't just give you the Olympic. I mean, come on. Let's see, other open.
They really
it was
need
a conflict of
just
it was
pull
mostly
the Band-Aid off and just have the.
I was going to say the prosecutor's office. Prosecutor's office said that the case targets suspected conflict of interest and favoritism, involving several contracts reached by the organizing committee and Solidio, the company in charge of Olympic facilities. So I mean, basically, Russia and China is what Russia and China do. They just actually investigated it. What were you saying? Sorry.
I was saying the Olympic Committee needs to go and just pull the Band-Aid off and just host the Olympics in Pyongyang. I mean, we all know they want to do it. Just do it at this point.
If the money is there, obviously they definitely want to do it. What I was really thinking is that FIFA is 100% not holding any major tournaments in France. They see what's going on there. They're like, guys, pull out. They're going to know. We are not, no World Cup for you, France. We're going to go to, as Bobby suggested, Pyongyang or maybe South Africa or something, a place with no corruption that we don't have to worry about. Cameron or something, heart of Africa.
All right, so speaking of World Cup, we've got the Canadian soccer team rips the Canada Soccer Association after their loss, the 2-0 loss to the United States, which it says a lot about the United States soccer team when that's the loss teams use to go after themselves. But they're like, yep, something needs to change. We just lost to the U.S.
Yeah.
They
definitely. Well, it's mostly
so
because
they have not. So
I was just gonna say it's mostly because all of the American players are playing on professional teams, and it's just no big deal. And the Canadian players is, who are you, Canadian soccer players? I'm going to be honest, besides Steve Nash, I was very unaware that you even existed, okay? Your most famous soccer player is a basketball player, all right? And now he coaches basketball. He got out.
I'm assuming that to make the Canadian national soccer team, you just have to not have a hockey game that day. Your schedule's clear. You're on there.
You have to not be on the Olympic curling team, not play hockey, and not have a beaver hunt coming up in the near future. And your ice hole is already cut for the fishing season, and you're good. You're good for the day. So I agree. Yeah, that's
Yeah. So the coach John Herdman came after the CSA, pretty much saying that they're willing to put all this money into the World Cup, but they are not willing to finance the team. He probably said a lot more politely than that.
Sure.
Probably said, "Oh yeah, we've got to figure this out financially."
I'm so sorry for what I'm about to have to say.
So sorry,
everybody, just calm down. I'm super sorry about it, but it's got to be said. We need a little money. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
He also says Canada deserves a World Cup win, and I'm sorry. Why? What? Like, I get it. You want to win a World Cup, but saying that Canada deserves a World Cup win is a little bonkers.
Canada's
bro.
been a country
I
since
get it. You guys can't win a Stanley Cup, so
Canada's been like a real place since like 1942, dude. Like you're not even like calm down over there, bud. Like you guys aren't you guys still? I'm pretty sure I just saw you guys like send an emissary over to like say what up to your new queen. Is that accurate? Aren't you still like under the thumb of a monarch?
New king?
You know, like king, whatever. But like that, yeah. What a silly thing to say. Oh, you're spending all this money for the World Cup. Well, I've got to say something to you, Canadian soccer national team head coach. The World Cup is gonna make money. Does Canada's soccer team make the country money? Because that's why they're doing that. I mean, I don't know if they do or they don't, but my guess is, Bob, is that the trillions of dollars they're going to spend to get people from all over the world to come to their country is just a little different than their national team. And I'm not saying that their national team doesn't deserve to be funded appropriately. But you guys got like 300,000 people in your whole country, man. Like, you got a World Cup, dude. Be happy about it, all right? Be just happy that you get to be there and be a part of things. You get an automatic bid. You're in the World Cup this next time, okay? Even though you're Canada.
So I know that the host nation always gets an automatic bid.
All
when
three.
it's a host continent, do all three? That seems like like if I'm another country, I'm like, that's bullshit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and because like the North American, like Central America's like, well, F me, I guess. You know, like we'll just battle it out over here for the scraps.
There's like 30 of us.
Yeah. Like North America got it. We're technically a part of this crew, and like we don't even get to, you know, really get a real shot. Like honestly, let's be real. This was the one shot we had of having Canada and the US in the same World Cup tournament. I don't know if that's actually happened or not before. It may have, but I just don't remember.
Our main topic of the day, obviously, the Stanley Cup Finals are done. The Vegas Golden Knights are the champs. I was shocked by the the final outcome. I thought Florida was going to come in here better, but holy crap, did Florida drop the ball? I got to watch it on the cruise, and it was not only did they drop the ball, but man, this was the lowest watched Stanley Cup final since I think they said like 2004 or something like that.
That's very understandable.
Like, insanely low numbers.
That's a very understandable. I mean, it's not, you know, they're hey, good for them, but like not everybody wanted to tune in and watch, you know, your big hockey cities watching Vegas and Sunshine, Florida face off. I do want to say I don't think that Florida dropped the ball as much as that we misjudged and made false assumptions about the Western Conference this year. We assumed because all the flashy scores and stats and teams and points were all on the Eastern Conference side that they were the better conference. Whereas the Western Conference, you know, not as flashy, not as much, you know, not as much to see. Really, I just think that it was so close that all of the Western Conference teams just beat the hell out of one another, and Vegas emerged as the champion of the tougher conference, and it was inevitable for whoever they faced from the East. Is that accurate? No idea. Did the break play into it a little bit? Statistically, as you said, Bob, you know, it hasn't in the past. Now, could it have this time? Sure, absolutely.
I think it did.
But there was a time where I forget who it was. I think it was Chandler Stevenson or maybe Petrangelo or somebody looks over to one of the guys on the Vegas bench and is just like, they just weren't ready for this. You know what I'm saying? Like just one of those, like not like yelling and screaming and, you know, these guys suck. Just like looking over at his buddy and be like, nah, bro. Nah, man, they weren't in the right headspace for this. Florida was a great team. They had a great season. They went much further than we thought that they would have. Vegas has been on this cusp for years. They have a full, complete team
since the beginning.
Complete team. They work together well. There's not any outright egos on there. I mean, Jack Eichel and Mark Stone are great hockey players, stars in this league, but not in a cocky kind of way. Just a great team. I think that despite what we thought going in, I do think that the better team won. I am surprised that it wasn't a little closer. But we got to speak to Tkachuk and Ekblad's just sheer toughness for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
The toughness of I think Ekblad, they said he broke a bone in his foot in the Boston series and played through that.
And Tkachuk had a broken sternum.
Came back in that game and dropped that goal. I think they said Ekblad tore his collarbone or broke it or something. It just a ridiculous level of toughness that all hockey players show, but in particular when you want to call these out, when they were talking about what Ekblad had, that is the standard that you hear about from a guy in the finals, not the exception. You are usually going to hear about a guy that has he played. I mean, to be honest with you, he was a trooper out there. He played really well, and then you hear what he played with. He's still from that game 1 injury of the first game of the playoffs. He had a whole skate blade just stuck in his back the whole time. The doctor told him not to play, but he said, "I'm going out there," and so he wasn't. The doctor
he had his eyes gouged out in game 1.
Doctor wasn't going to tell him no. He threatened to stab the doctor with his back skate, I think is the way he put it. But it was such a great playoffs. As disappointed as I am with the end result, I think I was very, very pleased with the journey there. The conference all the way up 100%. Through the conference finals were amazing. And not that the Stanley Cup wasn't, it was just a lopsided series that you don't really like seeing at the very end. But yeah, congrats to Vegas, man. They deserved it. Wild Bill got him one. Mark Stone, Jack Eichel, Aiden Hill. Can't say enough about that guy. Stepping up in the first series and just absolutely dominating.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Eichel getting a Stanley Cup before Connor McDavid. A lot of people, I'm sure, lost some money over that bet. I mean, that's something that they've been talking about for several years now.
Probably so, but I'll bet you those guys that had McDavid had the caveat in the bet, the condition in the bet. But if Jack Eichel cries and gets out of Buffalo, the bet doesn't count, guys. I know I would have made that rule. He leaves Buffalo, all bets are off. All right.
Yeah,
that is crazy, man.
Let's move into
No, I was just
agreeing. Go ahead.
Nope, you're good. I was just saying that is crazy.
Let's move into joke of the week.
The weird. Corey Perry. See, I don't like this. Wild. I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it. Outlandish.
Each sixth chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
You're kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
I think there's an issue with the URL because when I click on this, it says police searching 2024 Paris Olympics. Not the bus driver.
It might be the wrong. It might be the wrong Earl, Bob. Here we go. I think I had pasted that in there and then did not change it.
Well, guys, we have a great joke of the week. Once we can get it up.
There you go. I posted it in the chat. All right. Bus driver transporting Pittsburgh Pirates charged with a DUI. Now you may be wondering, like, come on, Brandon, why are we just going to bring up everybody? Like, oh, the poor guy charged with the DUI, and now you guys are just going to make fun of him on your podcast. Well, when you are the bus driver that is transporting the Pittsburgh Pirates from Chicago to Milwaukee and you're stopped mid-journey for the DUI, you're damn right we're going to make fun of you, buddy. What are you doing? You're a bus driver. That's like your only rule. Like, you get to be a douchebag to people. You get to run people off the road. But just, you can't drink, dude. That's it. You just can't get a little drunk. And it was after a loss. So, like, they got, I did not even read this part, Bob. This is the best part. The trip began in Chicago on Thursday night after the Pirates' 7-2 loss to the Cubs before an Illinois State police escort. It was their escort that caught them. It wasn't like they got pulled over mid-interstate. Illinois State police escort noticed erratic driving and put a stop to the ride. The driver, 61-year-old Ronald E. Funderburk of Shelby, North Carolina, displayed multiple signs of impairment, according to police, and was arrested after a trooper initially requested an ambulance out of concern for a medical emergency. Funderburk was not affiliated with the team. He was a contractor. The senior vice president of the Pirates, Brian Warecki, confirmed the incident to media outlet on Friday. We are deeply concerned with what transpired last night. The important thing is all our personnel arrived at Milwaukee safely. We are now in communication with the appropriate parties regarding this matter. Yeah,
this is
what a joke. What a joke.
The craziest thing to me is that this dude, balls of steel, because A is an idiot. B, two, knowing you're going to have a police escort.
Right.
So that's when he decides to drink and drive. Like, he pretty much said, you know what? It's me versus you. Let's see. Like, he played chicken with the cops, and he lost.
He's like, I'm from North Carolina, baby. I don't care about none of you woke liberal Northerners. All right, I'm getting to Milwaukee. I'm gonna go have myself a Milwaukee's Beast. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to the beer capital of the damn world. All right, Miller Lite's brewed up there, buddy. Yeah, it is funny that. I mean, what was the vetting? Because it is a contracted employee. That's the funny thing is like. Nobody on that bus is your boss. Like that guy is an Uber driver that drives a bus.
Yeah.
Like you have no recourse for him whatsoever. If he just wanted to be like, all right, middle of the interstate, get off the bus. I got to go drink, which is probably what he was thinking. Yeah, it just seems like you made a comment like, why do they not have like an employee? And it does seem odd that you wouldn't have an employee, but I guess if you're not busing a whole lot, it's just a very rare. But
occasion. This is baseball. There's a lot of teams that are like within an hour's drive of each other. If there's one sport where you should have a driver on staff, probably baseball. When you're having turnarounds of like the next day,
it's probably scheduling. But yes, I mean there are times that it's driving. So yeah, I mean definitely should have had an employee. Obviously. They took a bus because it's an hour and 45-minute drive to Milwaukee. And from Wrigley Field, it was also an hour, 45-minute drive to O'Hare or Midway. So, I mean, they were saving time either way. And until, obviously, the Dewey happened. Because then you got to find a sub. Like, somebody in the back was just like, I'll drive, coach. I'll take it. Like, damn it, Danny, you've been drinking too. They'll never believe we're both
Pirates,
drunk.
Yeah. The Pirates cannot catch a W anywhere. All right, let's move into what's snapping your stick.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
All right, so I really wanted to find something for my trip to use for What Snapped My Stick. And in the final minute, about as late in the game as you could possibly get,
coming in
it
clutch.
Showed itself.
Coming in clutch.
You know that there are times when things that should make you mad sometimes make you just furious, but then there are times that it's something so outrageous that should make you mad. But you almost
laugh.
you
just chuckle.
You laugh about
chuckle
it.
This one
It's so insane.
If I get into this,
we've talked before about.
If I get into this, I'm not getting out type of laughter like that.
Yes. So
like if somebody heard you, they'd be scared.
Yeah, like we've talked before about on planes, people in the back of the plane standing up as soon as they land and get to the gate, and then they just stand for way too long. That's not what you do. When people get up, then when the people in front of you go, you get up and go.
You get like a 2 to 3 row cushion. You know,
yeah,
like a 2 to 3 row cushion.
Or
prep up. You know, get ready.
Yeah,
for
if you need to, for example, I immediately stood up, put stuff in my bag, and then sat back down, so that way when it is time for my turn to go, I can go.
Guess what? That's not standing up, Bob. That is standing up.
No, I know.
For a second. You know, and you're back. You're back down. You're back down.
This lady, I'm in the back. Because we're flying Alaska Airlines with assigned seats. I'm in the back of the plane. This lady, further back than me, almost second row to the back, she is. The moment it lands, not only stands up, she takes her bag and walks to the front in front of first class and is standing at the door to get off. And I'm just like, and she even had the nerves to say excuse me to a bunch of people, to move people out of the way to get up there.
Slid.
Yeah, and I'm like,
honestly,
and she says, and Megan looks at me, and she's like, don't do it. I'm like,
do what?
That is outrageous.
Don't do what? The sheer audacity means that, look, I'm not winning this fight if I get into it.
Yeah.
She
at that point, I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
Right. I mean, this is our move, Bob. We hate on her for this. We literally did that. We do that quite a bit with the podcast. We just walk to the front of beer lines. so it's hard for me to hate when I can respect the game. I did see this Curb Your Enthusiasm skit clip, and the lady does the talking cut, and she does it in front of Larry, and Larry's like, no, it's me. I know what you're doing. I'm impressed, but no. And then she does it again behind him. He goes, you're doing it again. But he's like, man, I'm not going to tell on you. He's like, I'm impressed with your skills. So I mean, that's one of those things. Yes, it should make me absolutely furious. But that lady was home for 3 hours before you even got off the plane, Bob. She don't give an F about you or nobody, dude.
Yeah. One thing I did like is that they did make her at least go stand behind first class. Yeah. Because they were like, no, ma'am, you can't do that to people. Right. I mean, you can do it to those people. You can't do it to these
just
people.
The coaches. We're not, that's a lawless land back there. Okay. We get it. Yeah. You show
this is not Southwest. There's okay. Southwest, everyone's the same. Yeah. Not here.
Well, but in Southwest, I would fear for your safety if you did that, ma'am. Somebody would stomp you out. Okay, so they're flying Southwest. They don't got a lot to, they don't got a lot to give at that point.
Yeah. It's only a couple notches above Spirit Airlines,
especially if they're flying home. They've spent all their money that they don't have. Okay, you're done. So my snaps my stick is not a real snaps my stick, but it sort of is. Honestly, it's one of those snaps my sticks that, I'm sad that we weren't a part of. Dollywood had Coaster Con, like a roller coaster con.
Ooh.
Like the American Coaster Enthusiast or whatever. And when we bought the tickets, it didn't tell us. Obviously, there's a schedule and stuff, but who's like, I'm going to go to Dollywood? And it's like, let's go check Dollywood's schedule and just see what they have going on. No, it's a theme park. You just assume probably rides and stuff, right? Well, this was happening. And so obviously seems dope to be a part of, the American Coaster Enthusiasts. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on them. But 2 of the roller coasters in a section of the park were closed all day. And what we assumed was it's closed so they can ride it, right? They're the first class, they're the first class of this situation, Bob. And they're the coaster enthusiasts. They've got little, lanyards and such. honestly, that also would have made me mad. I had 2 points. Like, number one, nobody should pay full price for the theme park ticket if areas of your park are closed. In my mind, whatever.
Yes.
That was my first
Correct.
thought process. And then I thought, like you did, like, oh, if they get to ride it and we don't, that's lame. It's the new one and all this stuff. The problem is I didn't know that this would make me more mad, is that Stephanie and I never saw those 2 roller coasters run at all. And now that's not to say that they didn't, but I did find out that I was more mad that nobody was riding them than just the coaster enthusiast. At least these dudes have paid
were they down for repairs? Because I get that.
No.
Like,
they were
that
closed.
happens.
They told us. Right. Sure. I'm not. And look, we had a blast and we enjoyed all the roller coasters we went on.
Okay.
So it wasn't that. No, and they like multiple people told us like they'll be closed for like a special event or something. So I don't know if like the special event is just like staring intently at the coaster, or again that they rode them and we just didn't see it. So I'm not excluding the fact that it's a big park and maybe we weren't standing by those 2 roller coasters the whole day and just never saw. But my problem would be is if you shut this bad boy down.
There's a third option here.
Okay. Hit me with it.
This is a CoasterCon. Maybe these are the people that get to see for the first time an invisible roller coaster.
Oh, so I'm not. Yeah, right. Like I'm not excluding all that. But honestly, though, you could have told me that at the gate, and I would have paid the $50 membership fee to become an American coaster enthusiast. So So like, if you're one, so I've said all that to say this is, I think Stephanie and I, not like immediately or anything, but in the near future, in like a 5-year or 10-year plan type of deal, we're getting in the game of Ace, bro. I think we're going to become American coaster enthusiasts. And now she's much more of a coaster. She's much more of a coaster enthusiast than me. I enjoy roller coasters, but I'm kind of a wuss. I'll do them all, but like, I've got to fight once I get going, I'm good. But even if I've done the roller coaster, sometimes I'm like, all right, well, this is it. You're dying. You're flying off this roller coaster. You're going to slide out of the bar or whatever. And then I do it and I have fun. But I've always been nervous of heights and stuff. So that's very frequent, but I battle through it. I always reminds me of what George R. R. Martin said, or technically, I guess, Eddard Stark said to Bran when Bran asked him, can a man be scared and brave at the same time? And Eddard Stark goes, only time a man can be brave is when he's scared, bro. And I was like, that hit me hard. And I was like, yeah, bro. Eddard Stark thinks I should ride this roller coaster. I'm finna do it, bro. I mean, he gonna die, but
Yeah. Yeah. There was 2 things. There was once a time where, like, if you and I were, there, we would have immediately signed up without a hesitation. We would have said $50 to ride 2 coasters. Fuck yeah, we will. Like, so I'm actually proud. Like, I assumed that this story was going to lead to you. I've already signed up for it.
It wasn't like an option. There wasn't like a sign up table, Bobby, or best believe.
Oh, otherwise you would have.
Oh, we might have, dog, because the time saver pass was like $60 extra. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that, helpful for that particular day, it seemed like. But definitely had a blast in East Tennessee. It's always good to see the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. And you talk about how, you're not a big, you like roller coasters, but you're a little scared of them. That made me think there was this guy on Twitter or something like that, where I think it's from that place up in Ohio.
Cedar Point.
Oak something or
Cedar
Point. And what he does is right before the roller coaster goes, he'll look at someone and be like, oh, you're not strapped in all the way, then hit go. And to me, I don't play like that. Like, I'm not scared of roller coasters, but you would have me fucked up.
No, it's not that. I wouldn't even be that, because I'm a triple, double. Like, you ain't even going to trick me like that. Honestly, you would say something to me, and if I'm in my zone, like, nobody talks to me, bro. Like, I'm like, don't talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even hear you. But yes, it's never that. I'm not. It's more of I don't fear that. I mean, that guy would get sued like crazy if he did that. So, like, I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about this machine that I don't know. Like, Some guy says he's a roller coaster
That was put
maintenance
together by
guy.
carnies.
And like, I've known many people that lie on their resume. So like, there has to be a roller coaster maintenance tech somewhere that's like, oh yeah, I was Cedar Point for a few years, and then they traveled me down to Disney a couple times, work on Space Mountain, and then he gets the job because there's an HR manager that just got back from vacation and they really need to fill the position. And then a higher ranking maintenance man who sends this guy on his own, even though he's supposed to be covered by another maintenance man for the first 30 days, but they got a lot going on and it's just the small roller coaster. And then pow, I'm dead. So all that goes through my head, and like not even like waiting in line, just like when I get right there before, I'm like, all right, this is it. I start writing my will out in my head, which is not going anywhere. And then I get on it.
Yeah.
And I have a blast. So.
Yeah. But all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us on our episode back from the break. Don't forget July 6th. Come on out from wherever you are to Middle Tennessee to catch us at Mayday Brewery. But until next time, for Brandon, I'm Bobby. This has been Pucks Out Pod. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram at Pucks Out Pod.